Okay, all of you keep your pens, books ready. Okay. So for every chapter, we will discuss first the formula and the important concepts again. Okay, just a quick recap of that, and then few different types of questions which can come from the chapter. First, I want to make sure that the concepts are very clear. At the end, we will do word problems. So I know most of you, your difficulty is word problems. I know that. But first, your concept should be clear, no? And it's been some while. You might have forgotten some things. So we'll first clear all the concepts. At the end of the session, I'll do word problems. All right? So first, we're starting off with real numbers. Please, quickly, in a minute, try answering these questions in your notebook. So first is the statement of fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Just fill in the missing words and then try answering the remaining questions. Online students, you can send me your answers on chat also if you want me to check. But I may not get time to check all your answers. Wherever you have doubts, you can send me on chat also. Quickly, quickly. Don't write complete sentences. You won't finish then. I'll share this with you. Don't worry. Okay? Okay, let's discuss. Fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So what does the fundamental theorem of arithmetic tell you? Every what number? Composite number.
Composite number.
Yes, every composite number can be expressed as what? It can be expressed as
a product.
Primes.
as a product of primes. That's right. And this factorization is
Unique.
unique. This factorization is unique. At different points of time, you're not going to get a different prime factorization. Every time the prime factorization is going to be the same. Apart from the order in which these prime factors occur.
Prime factor.
Okay, every composite number can be expressed as product of primes. This factorization is unique except for the order in which the prime factors occur. What is the highest common factor of two numbers? Once you have prime factorized, how do you find the highest common factor? Product of which pairs? Highest, least.
Highest.
Highest common factor is not the product of the highest pairs. It's a product of the least pairs, smallest
Least
pairs. Okay, it's a product of the least pairs of which prime factors for the two numbers? Common prime factors. It is the product of the least or smallest pairs of only the common prime factors. What about the LCM of two numbers? Product of highest pairs.
Highest pairs.
The highest pairs of which prime factors? No, not the common ones only.
All the
All prime factors. You should consider all the prime factors here, right? So for all the prime factors, it will be the highest pairs product. And the other one would be least pairs of common prime factors. This is the difference between HCF and LCM. And this is important for certain questions and even when you're factorizing, right? And you're finding the HCF and LCM, you need to keep this rule in mind. Okay, HCF of coprime numbers A and B. What is the highest common factor of coprime numbers? What do you mean by coprime numbers? Coprime numbers are numbers which have only one common factor. So if coprime numbers have only one common factor, that only will be the HCF. What is the common factor? 1. Coprime numbers do not have any common factors except 1. So HCF of coprime numbers will be 1. What about LCM of coprime numbers? Yes, it will be product of the two numbers. When you are having no common factor except 1, the LCM would be just product of the two numbers, AB. What is the product of HCF of any two numbers and LCM of any two numbers? A into B, the product of the two numbers itself. So HCF of two numbers multiplied by LCM is product of the two numbers. Okay. So if while writing the formula you notice that you have forgotten something, you have missed out on something, that means you need to learn that properly. All right. Okay. Now we will go to some common questions which comes from this particular chapter. Now for these initial questions which I'm discussing, I'm focusing more on the way you have to write the answers. All right. So we'll just revise that quickly. Then few questions we will solve together. So first type of question. Explain why these numbers are composite numbers. When you get questions of this type, how are you supposed to frame your answer?
First we take one number as common, like suppose we can take 5 as common here.
Yes, correct. You should not calculate the value. You're not expected to do that. Some of you, what happens is when you get such questions in the exam, you calculate the value of the expression and then you show that it's a composite number. That is going to be time consuming and that's not required. Those are not the expected steps. So what are the expected steps when you get such type of questions? This has been taken out from an actual marking scheme of a previous board exam paper. Okay, the expected steps when you get such type of questions. Over here, you take 5 common out. When you take 5 common out, what are you left with? 2 into 3. So this is one group. Remember, there is a plus here. So when you're taking 5 common out, it means taking 5 from the whatever is coming before plus symbol and whatever is coming after plus symbol. So you take 5 out here, take 5 out here. What is left? In this group, 2 into 3 is left. And here when I take 5 out, don't leave it blank when you have taken 5 out. You should not leave it blank. It is 5 into 1 is 5. So you should put 1 over here in bracket. Now you solve the bracket part. When you solve the bracket part, what do you get? 5 into 7. Understanding? Now, how should you write your steps? This is the product of two factors other than 1. Okay? Which means what? It is a composite number. Because If there were prime numbers, only common factor would have been what? 1. Only one factor, only two factors would have been there. 1 and the number itself. But here I am getting 1 plus 2 more factors. 1, 2 and 3. 3 factors already I am getting, which means it's composite. This is the expected step when you get such type of questions. The next one is also similar. You can see what's happening here. Take 7 now, 5 and 7 both common. You look at this group. You look at this group, you can take 5 into 7 common. You don't have to calculate. You can take 5 into 7 common. Here also you take 5 into 7 common. What is left? In the first group, 11 is left. Second group, 1 is left. Calculate 11 plus 1, you get 12. No need of prime factorizing. Some of you, what you do is you spend time factorizing 12 also then further. Not required, because the moment you got like this product, it means that you're getting product of two numbers other than one. Right? Which means what? This number is also composite. So I just wanted to emphasize on the way you have to write your steps over here, because many of you get this part wrong. How to write the step. Okay, so no need to write it down right now. I'll be sharing this with you. Once I share with you, just try doing it again. Practice writing it out on your own. Okay. Next one. Prove that root 3 is irrational. Very common question. You all have been practicing this a lot of times, right? It's been a very common question in the exam, but unfortunately, some of you are still making errors in this, the way you're writing your steps. So what is the main error that's happening? Main error that's happening is first initial step, incomplete initial step. Second thing is when you're writing your step, what divides what, or what is a factor of what, or what is a multiple of what. That particular step, many of you mix up. You interchange and write. And another problem is when you're concluding, you're not writing what the contradiction is properly. The way we prove this question only is called proof by contradiction. So it is very important you use the word contradict and you use it in the correct sense. So how do you write this answer? Prove that root 3 is irrational.
Let's assume root 3 to be a rational.
Yes, that's the initial step. You assume the contrary, right? And then what you do?
Then
root 3 be a by b, where a and b are co-primes and b is not equal to 0.
Yes, and it's important to mention that A and B or P and Q, whatever you guys use, it's important to mention that that's co-prime. Okay, then?
with a co-prime where q is not equal to 0.
Where Q not equal to 0 or B not equal to 0, correct? Then?
Then we say
All of you try recollecting as we are saying this. Yeah?
root 3 is equal to p by q.
Yes.
And square both sides.
Square both sides. Very important step is squaring both the sides. After you square, please do not tell me that A is a factor of 3 or A divides 3. Or don't tell that P is a factor of 3, P divides 3. Wrong. It should be the other way around. 3 divides A. First you say 3 divides A square. That is important. First say 3 divides A square, which implies 3 divides A. Okay. So this way of writing the steps is very important. You start off, these are the steps which we discussed. Okay. After that you need to assume. So you take P by Q or A by B, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. Then you can take 3M or you can take 3C. The number 3 will change depending on the irrational number. If it is root 5, it will become 5. Root 7, it will become 7. Then please say this, after substituting, say this, that 3 divides Q also. Okay. And this concluding statement is where majority of you get it wrong. What you're supposed to say? From these two statements, we are getting that 3 divides both P and Q, which is a contradiction. Or you can say this contradicts the fact. What does it contradict? It contradicts the fact that both are co-primes. Hence, assumption is wrong. So, memorize this. If you're still not able to get this on your own, please memorize these steps then. Okay?
Ma'am,
Yeah?
Instead of writing 3 divides q square, can we say q square is an integer of 3, therefore q is an
Q
integer
square
of
is an integer of 3. What that sentence doesn't make sense. Q square is a multiple of 3, not integer.
Okay,
Q
yes, sir.
square is a multiple of 3, you can say, which means that Q is a multiple of 3. Q is a multiple, 3 is a factor. That ordering should not go wrong, whichever wordings you're using. Okay? Then another example is this type. Prove that 3 plus root 2 is an irrational number.
We again use some assumption.
Again you assume, okay? So again you assume the contrary, that it's an irrational number. You rearrange. Now this part is again where I see the major problem. The concluding statement. Most of you do the rearrangement correct nowadays. So, but the problem is in the concluding statement. What you must mention is in the RHS, since everything are integers, RHS is what? Rational. If RHS is rational, automatically what does it mean? LHS also should be rational, no? But is that possible? No, it's a contradiction. Why? In the question it's already given. Root 2 is irrational. There is a contradiction here. So this is a contradiction. So our assumption is wrong. Hence it is irrational. Okay? So I am taking up so many. Tell me.
Can we just write LHS is not equal to RHS, hence our initial assumption is wrong like that?
That is okay, but a better way of writing is RHS is rational, implies LHS is rational, but LHS is irrational given. That is a better way of writing. You want me to repeat that?
Yes, ma'am.
You say RHS is rational. Why? Because all are integers, which implies, this symbol means implies, the way we read the symbol implies, the previous step means that. Okay, and then you say LHS is also rational. But can LHS be rational? No, right? LHS cannot be rational. Why? Because it's already given. So that's where the contradiction is happening. And because of this contradiction, we can say that 3 plus root 2 is a irrational number. Clear? If you have such type of question, what do you do? A doubt over here would be, this is directly taken out from a previous CBSE paper. Okay? Now a doubt may be, they have not given root 2 is irrational, root 5 is irrational. Am I supposed to prove that root 2 is and root 5 both are irrational first and then do this? You're not expected to do that for a 3-mark question, very frankly speaking. Okay? This is referring to the actual marking schemes. You can do the modification and do it. You can go with the assumption that root 2 and root 5 are irrational. It's okay. I know that the standard advice has been to prove it when it's not given. So if you have sufficient time, you're aiming for a top score. Why teachers tell you that is just so that you don't take a chance of losing half mark. That's it. But please understand that it may not be worth the time that you spend to write all those steps. Proving root 2 is irrational, proving root 5 is irrational. Then you're proving this. It'll take some time, no? So leave it. It's okay. It's not required. Okay? At the end, if you feel you have time and you don't want to risk, you want to check your paper again and you want to make sure that no place the teacher can cut half marks, then you do it. Okay? Yeah. Now tell me, how do we do this?
Use again.
Yeah, Fawaz, I saw your message.
Ma'am, in this, will both the things come in denominator?
Both the things come eventually, you mean? In a later
Yeah.
step? Yeah, it can happen. But how
So
do we start with? I'm interested in the starting step.
Can we use the same thing?
let us assume that root 2 plus root 5 is rational. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Root
And then root 2 plus root 5 is equal to a by b.
Yeah.
And then we can put a by root 5b minus, I'm not sure about this.
No. You cannot do that. It's not root 2 multiplied by root 5. So you cannot take out root 5 separately like that. What you should be doing over here, if the question is like this, you just square. Assume that root 2 plus root 5 is rational. Here they have written it as m. You can write it as a by b also, no problem. Like what we normally do. This is again from an official marking scheme. So that there's no confusion, I've taken all these from the official marking schemes. Okay? You can take this as m or you take it as a by b. So that's what you're used to. Take it as a by b. Then you square both sides. How do you square root 2 plus root 5 the whole square? Please don't write that root 2 plus root 5 the whole square is equal to 2 plus 5. Please don't do
We
that.
should identity.
Ma'am, we
Yes,
use
A
identity.
plus B.
Yes.
So
So
A plus B
this
whole
is
cube.
a square.
Also,
This is b square. But please remember to add 2ab. A plus b the whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab. So you will do 2 root 10, right? Meaning you get over here 7 plus 2 root 10. Understanding? So 7 plus 2 root 10 is equal to a square by b square. Now you rearrange. Understood? After you square, now you rearrange. Now this became like a question which you're used to. You just have to rearrange, get root 10 alone on one side. Now you know RHS will be rational. This implies that LHS is also rational, but LHS is irrational. So this is a contradiction, right? LHS is not equal to RHS. This is a contradiction. Mention the word, this is a contradiction. This means assumption is wrong. Wherever there's contradiction, it means assumption is wrong. Hence, it's an irrational number. So these are some standard type of questions which I do not want to spend time right now giving you time to write. We would lose a lot of time then. But please learn the wordings. If some of you are already okay with this, but there are many of you, majority I would say, who are making some or the other error while writing this. So please sort that out. Okay? All right, let's solve some questions now. All of you are feeling tired after social studies. Red eyes, not slept properly. It's okay, wake up, wake up. The session will be useful. Okay? Try to concentrate maximum. How do you do this?
Ma'am, we proved that 12 is not the multiple of 5 or something.
Yes.
prime factorization of
If,
12.
if a number, yes, correct. If a number has to end with 0 or 5, what is the compulsory condition?
It should have prime factors 5 and 2.
No, no, no,
5
no.
and
Read the question.
uh,
0 or 5. Oh, 0 or 5. I think you're right because the word is or. If it was 0, it cannot end with digits 0 or 5 for any natural number end. No, no, no. 2 is not the important criteria over here. Because see, numbers ending with 2 won't end with 5. I mean, numbers having prime factor 2 won't end with 5. The important criteria is not 2. What is the...
same for 0.
Yeah, if the question was only digit 0, then both 2 and 5 have to be prime factors. If a number has to end with digit 0, that means it is divisible by 10. If a number ends with digit 0, it's divisible by 10. At that time, compulsorily what happens? It should have both 2 and 5 as prime factors. But when in this type of question, when they're telling cannot end with digit 0 or 5, what is the important number here?
5.
5. So what should you do over here? When you are prime factorizing 12, you should show what? That
Also
5
should
is
prime
not appearing as a prime factor, right? So all of you know this again, how to write the steps. So you just have to do this. It'll come as a 2-mark question, not more than 2 mark, right? So you say 12 to the power n is 2 square into 3 to the power n, which is 2 to the power 2n into 3 to the power n. There is no factor in the form of 5 raised to something. Or you can just say 5 is not there in the prime factorization. 5 is not a prime factor. That's also fine. Don't worry. You can write like this or you can say 5 is not a prime factor. Hence, it cannot end with 0 or 5. That's all. There'll be 1 mark for this and there'll be 1 mark for mentioning the reason. Okay. So these are all easy marks which you can obtain for these questions, standard type of questions. Okay. I'll give you some time to solve this now. Please solve.
Let's see.
One moment, I'm just responding to a doubt. Okay, there's a doubt in this question. I just saw the chat message now. Is the doubt here in how to square root 2 plus root 5? When you're squaring root 2 plus root 5, one common mistake which is made when you're squaring is you square root 2 and then you square root 5. That is wrong way of squaring. When you're squaring root 2 plus root 5 together is an expression. You cannot do 2 plus 5. That is wrong. Okay, where you have to do a plus b the whole square, which means you get root 2 square plus root 5 square plus 2 times root 2 times root 5. And what is root 2 times root 5? Whenever you have two irrational numbers, also called surds, surds, when you have two irrational numbers, you can multiply whatever is inside together. Angelina, have I cleared it out?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this answer, I've got some answers in chat. What are your answers? Okay, HCF of the smallest number of two digits. Smallest number of two digits is what? 10.
10.
And largest multiple of 5, which is less than 40. 35. I remember
35.
once this question was asked in an earlier paper, and some of you took the largest multiple as 40 only. Please read the question carefully. Okay, in these type of questions. So 10 and 35, what is the highest common factor?
5 says 5.
I'm sorry?
Is the answer 5?
Yes, the answer is 5. You don't have to do too many steps over here. These are types of questions which you can do in few seconds if you get it right. 10 and 35, what is the highest common factor? 5. 10 is 5 into 2. 35 is 5 into 7. Over. HCF is 5. Okay, this question. See, the advantage in this question is, except for, you can eliminate some options if you find one answer also. It's possible to eliminate few options. How do we do this? I'm interested in the method which you're applying because there is one common mistake which can happen. What is the HCF? I think HCF is quite easy for everyone, right? The numbers are quite simple. You have 12, 3 into 4, 3 into 7, 3 into 5. So obviously 3 must be the HCF. I think that's easy. What about the LCM?
The LCM, we will take all the numbers which are not common in all of them. So that is 4 into 7
Okay, okay.
into
I
5.
understood. I understood that you got it. What about the others? What's your answer?
Ma'am, option C.
Okay, I'll tell you what is a common mistake that happens here. Some of you would be doing this like this. 12 into 21 into 15 by 3. product of numbers divided by HCF. If you apply this method, it would be wrong. This would be wrong if you're doing this. I'm sure some of you in the class would have done this. You might be finding LCM by taking product of the numbers and dividing by HCF. It is wrong. That formula is only applicable for two numbers. You cannot apply it for more than two numbers. Okay? So if you are doing it for more than two numbers, okay, so you're having this is 3 into 4, this is 3 into 7, this is 3 into 5. What you should be doing is take 3 ones. That's the highest power. And then you multiply with 4, 7 and 5. Whatever is left. Correct? Okay, so you get 20 into 21, which is 420. All right. So good. Nobody gave me a wrong answer, those of you who did. But there are many of you who did not answer. So I hope you are not thinking of this method. If you are thinking of this, it is wrong. All right? Okay. Try this one. What is the rule for HCF? We discussed it.
The one which has lower power.
Lower powers of what? Common prime factors, right? In this question, all the prime factors happen to be common. So you will put x, y, z. And then what should you do? Just put the lower number. So which is a lower number? For x it is 2. For y it is 3.
3,
And z it is 2.
2.
That's it. That's the HCF. If you're doing LCM, you would have taken all prime factors, which in this case again would be x, y, z. And then what should you do? You should take the higher powers if you're doing LCM. Okay. Try this.
Mama sent my answer in chat.
Okay. Okay, I saw it. But I need to calculate myself. I don't have the answer. Okay, so let's see. If I go by majority wins, then you're right.
Okay.
When you get such type of questions, okay, where you have to find HCF of two numbers and the factors of one of them are not very obvious. Like you have one number where the factors are not very obvious to you first. Like 119 might be a little more difficult to factorize, slightly more compared to 175. Start off with the easier number. My advice is start off with the easier number, because what happens is when you look at the factors of the easier number, you'll get a clue which all numbers you should test the other number for. Alright, so you start off with 175. Now, what are the important steps? So many of you factorize 175. You would do this, okay? Then you're going to get 35. Then you have 5 times 7. This is okay, no problem. But please make sure that you're writing this down. Writing this step is important. There's weightage for that. Okay, write that down. Now, see, I've got 5 as a factor, which I know is obviously not a factor of 119. But I've also got 7 as a factor. So now you're getting an idea what I should try out testing 119 for. You understand? So don't start with 119. Start with 175, which is the easier one to factorize. Look at its prime factors. That will give you a clue as to what to do here. So when you do this, try dividing with 7. Usually it will work. So you have 7 ones are 7, 4 is the remainder. Both are prime numbers, right? So you get 119 is 7 into 17. What is the HCF then?
7.
HCF is 7. Now, read question carefully. Don't get excited. Leave your answer like this and go to the next one. You are asked to find the value of m. So 18m minus 83 is 7, right? 18m is 90, which means the value of m would be 5. So you need to conclude your answer this way. Whatever HCF you got is this expression, 18m minus 83. So your aim is now to solve for that m and find out the answer. Okay, so good. Many of you did it quite well. This can come for either 2 marks or 3 marks. 3 marks is a little rare. Okay, 2 marks usually where HCF would have 1 mark, finding value of m would have 1 mark. But there have been few instances where such type of questions have come for 3 marks earlier. Okay. All right. Word problems we'll look at later. Now let's go to the next chapter concepts. Okay. Polynomials. So again, try writing down these formulae. 3 formulae I want. 1, 2 and this. This graph I'll explain to you later. Okay. Okay. Alpha plus beta is minus of the x coefficient b divided by the x square coefficient a. Alpha beta is constant term c divided by the x square coefficient a. One very important thing is, see, minus b means negative of whatever is the coefficient of x. Some of you, what happens is, when you see plus 2 here, you take it correctly. You know the formula is minus b by a, you take minus 2. Okay, no problem. But I have seen some of you, when there is minus 2 over here, you forget to take minus of minus 2. Because you think already a minus is there. My formula also has a minus. So I don't have to take minus of that. That would be a mistake. You need to take negative of whatever is there. So what you should remember is, when you're doing sum of roots formula, whatever is the value of b here, opposite sign you should take here. If there you have negative, you take positive here in the formula. If there you have positive, you take negative here in the formula. The sign will change. And even for constant, I've seen the same problem. When there is plus 3, for example, you guys correctly substitute 3. But when there is a minus 3, you think, oh, this is minus, but my formula says plus, so let me put only 3. That is wrong. When you're saying c by a, it means whatever is the constant along with the sign, substitute there. That is the meaning of it. Okay, so if minus 3 was there, you should put the minus also over here for C. So these two are important formulae. Suppose I know that one of the zeros is reciprocal of the other. What relation will I use to find out the zeros? Alpha into beta will be what value? If one zero is reciprocal of the other, what does it mean? It means product of zeros is 1, which means that C by A is equal to 1. So whenever you have those type of questions, one zero is reciprocal of the other, remember this property. If one zero is reciprocal of the other, it means product of zeros C by A is equal to 1. If you have one zero is negative of the other, then what will you use? One zero is negative of the other. If you have one zero is negative of the other, what will you use?
Alpha plus beta.
Alpha plus beta.
Alpha plus beta is equal to
0.
0. Alpha plus beta is equal to 0. That means you will use minus b by a is equal to 0. Remember this. Okay. If one zero is reciprocal of the other, use that product of zeros is 1. And if one zero is negative of the other, use sum of zeros is equal to 0. Okay. All right. This one, what is the answer? Next one, formation of quadratic polynomial when alpha and beta. That means you know the values of the zeros. When you know the values of the zeros, how do you form the quadratic polynomial?
X square minus alpha plus beta x plus product.
Yes. Please remember this minus over here. Okay. This basically means that the polynomial is x square minus sum of zeros x plus product of zeros. Okay.
Mom,
All
what
right.
about K? Always get confused between K.
What is the meaning of this k? Why do we write k? In the question, if they ask you, give a polynomial, form a polynomial, that means form a single polynomial whose zeros are whatever alpha and beta. In that case, you don't have to write k because they're anyway mentioning in the question, just give me one polynomial. But if they ask you, find the polynomials whose zeros are alpha and beta. Sraj, wake up. Okay? If they ask you, find the zeros where alpha and beta are the, find the polynomial, sorry, where alpha and beta are the zeros. In that case, what you will do is, you will mention this. You will write k, put k outside, and then put where k is any real number. You'll write that. That is a set of all polynomials possible. Okay? What does this tell you? What important information does this give you? It tells you that there are infinite polynomials which would have the same zeros. Suppose a question comes, how many polynomials are there which has 2 and 3 as zeros? You will find the polynomial and then you will answer 1. That is wrong. Some of you may make that mistake. It's not 1. There are infinite polynomials which can have the same zeros. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is this. Because you can multiply by k, k is having any real number. Even graphically it makes sense. If quadratic polynomial has maximum how many zeros? 2 zeros. Maximum quadratic polynomial has 2 zeros. I could draw so many parabolas here. Like this, like this. I could draw like this, right? So many parabolas I can draw through these 2 zeros. So there are so many infinite polynomials which can have the same zeros. Do you remember the graphical meaning of zeros? What is the graphical meaning of zeros? Which points show you the coordinates of the zeros? The point of intersection of graph with x-axis. The points
On
of
x-axis.
yes, points of intersection of the graph with x-axis. The zeros are also the x-intercepts. If you see this word x-intercepts in the question, don't get confused. X-intercepts means points of intersection with x-axis. And remember, the values of the zeros are same as the x-intercepts. Please do not count y-intercepts. Do not count points of intersection with y-axis as a possible 0 for p of x. Understanding? So here to get the number of zeros, listen. This is a problem, huh? Everyone's tired after social studies. Listen. So what happens is, if you want the number of zeros, check the points of intersection, number of points of intersection with the x-axis. So 2 points of intersection, which means 2 zeros. How do you get the values of the zeros? To get the values of the zeros, look at the x coordinate. Look at the x coordinate of wherever it is intersecting. Where is this intersecting? This is intersecting at -1. Where is this intersecting? This is intersecting at 4. That means -1 and 4 are the zeros. Okay? And sometimes you see usage of these kind of words. Find the vertex, especially in case study type questions. Okay, if you have case study type questions, or if you are having a conceptual competency type question, if they ask you find the vertex, remember vertex is exactly between the zeros. The vertex will be exactly between the zeros. So you just find the midpoint. Whatever is alpha plus beta divided by 2. One zero is alpha, another zero is beta. Add up both the zeros, divide by 2. That will be the x coordinate of the vertex. There is a line which passes through this vertex, which is called axis of symmetry. What is the equation of any vertical line? Any vertical line, what's the equation? How's the equation of any vertical line? X is equal to constant. Equation of any vertical line is x equals constant. So, once you find the x coordinate of the vertex, x is equal to that particular vertex's x coordinate will be the axis of symmetry equation. So, this is important for competency based questions, this particular logic. It's not taught
Could you
directly.
repeat that?
Yeah. Over here, what were the zeros, Zara? -1 and 4, no? What I got when I looked at the graph?
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am.
So that means my x coordinate of the vertex will be alpha plus beta by 2, the midpoint. Because the vertex is going to be directly the center. It's a symmetrical figure, no? Quadratic polynomials. So I'm going to get -1 plus 4 by 2. What is -1 plus 4 by 2? It's going to be 3 by 2, right? Which is 1.5. The graph is not drawn perfectly actually. This should have been here. Okay, it's not drawn perfectly. I'm just explaining to you. You understood this part, Sarah?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, so if 1.5 is the x coordinate of the vertex, the axis of symmetry will be a line which passes through this. See, it is perfectly, it's like a mirror. Both sides you're having mirror images. So what will be the equation of that axis of symmetry? It will be x equals 1.5.
Okay. I got it.
Okay, so if you talk about importance of this concept, if you consider frequency, the number of times questions like this appears, maybe not so important. But if they decide to give you a competency level question based on this, don't get surprised. This is the concept over here which you should use. Okay. All right. Other few important points. If you have to find out 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta, how will you find out?
Alpha plus beta by alpha beta.
Good. Okay. If you want to find alpha square plus beta square value, how will you find out?
You have to rearrange
Alpha plus
alpha
beta
plus
minus 2 alpha beta.
Alpha plus beta the whole square minus 2 alpha beta. If you want to find the value of alpha minus beta, how do you do that?
4. 1 minute.
Plus or minus square root of alpha plus beta the whole square minus 4 alpha beta. Okay? If they ask you to find out alpha cube plus beta cube. So all this involves your polynomial identities, what you have learned earlier. If these questions come, you will use alpha plus beta the whole cube minus 3 alpha beta into alpha plus beta. Okay, alpha cube plus beta cube will be alpha plus beta the whole cube minus 3 alpha beta into alpha plus beta. There is another identity for alpha cube plus beta cube which you have learned. That identity won't be as useful as this one to find out the answer. This is a rearrangement of a plus b the whole cube identity. When I rearrange a plus b the whole cube identity, when I shuffle it, I get this, which is more beneficial in order to find alpha cube plus beta cube. So if you get expressions of this sort, these are the formulae you're expected to do. Those of you who are very strong with identities, you need not memorize. You will be able to rearrange identities and get this. Others who keep forgetting, okay, I would advise if you can memorize these identities. Because sometimes you may get direct questions based on this. Alright?
Mom, how will we derive the third equation, alpha minus beta? I forgot the reading.
Alpha minus beta the whole square is alpha square plus beta square minus 2 alpha beta, right?
Yes.
This is alpha minus beta the whole square. And we already have a formula here for alpha square plus beta square, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I just substituted that here.
Okay.
Following?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Ma'am, then why did we get minus 4 alpha beta?
Minus 2 alpha beta minus 2 alpha beta. I already had minus 2 alpha beta, alpha square plus beta square minus 2 alpha beta. And in
Yeah.
alpha square plus beta square identity, there is another minus 2 alpha beta.
Oh, okay.
Minus 2 alpha beta minus 2 alpha beta becomes minus 4 alpha beta. Okay? Alright, questions. Solve these quickly. You should have got the answer by now. What is the answer here?
Ma'am, 2/3.
Ratio of sum of roots and product of roots. I don't think it's 2 by 3. Anyone who got 2 by 3 or 3 by 2, it is wrong. The ratio of sum of roots and their product. See, here they have mentioned quadratic equation. We are doing polynomials chapter, I know, but sum of zeros is same as sum of roots of quadratic equation. Please remember that. Sum of zeros of...
Ma'am,
Yeah.
even I got to.
Yeah, sum of zeros of polynomial is same as sum of roots of quadratic equation. Product of zeros of polynomial is same as product of roots of quadratic equation. So over here, I want sum of roots, which means minus b by a divided by, okay, I want to find the ratio of this with what? C by a. This is the same as minus b by a into a by c. A will get cancelled, right? So it is only minus b by c. You could have done this initially by substituting the values also. Same thing. Okay. What is minus of b? What is minus of b? Plus 2. Minus of b is not minus 2. Minus of b is plus 2. Minus of minus 2. So it is 2 by 1. Answer is only 2. When you're writing the answer as a ratio, write it as 2 is to 1. Okay. Alright. Next question.
I'm gonna go back once.
Ma'am, in this question, I substituted C as A, so I got 2 by 3.
Okay. So in this type of question, many of you have the tendency to first find the value of the zeros and then substitute and do it. It is okay when you can factorize, that's all right. But always try to use especially when you have expressions where it is easy for you to write in terms of alpha plus beta and alpha beta. Please use that method. Write in terms of alpha plus beta and alpha beta as we learned and substitute minus b by and c by a value. That is better. Because then you don't have to check whether the polynomial can be factorized, cannot be factorized. You will not waste your time there. And so what do we do here? Immediately change this to alpha plus beta by alpha beta minus alpha beta. Next you substitute the values. Okay. Those of you who are not very good with this, please write the values of A, B, C separately. Others need not do this. Alright. Those of you who regularly make sign mistakes and calculation mistakes, it's advisable to write this. A is equal to 1. B is how much? Minus 1. With the sign you must write. C is equal to minus 4. So alpha plus beta is, and again, those of you who make, this might come as a 2-mark question, let's say. Okay. Now if it's a 2-mark question, if you get your final answer right, even with lesser number of steps, you may get the full 2 marks. But the problem there is, what if your answer has gone wrong? Then the teacher does not have any scope to give you marks anywhere for steps in between. Right? What if your answer by chance has gone wrong? So it's better always to write the formula completely. So you will write alpha plus beta is minus b by a. Alpha beta is c by a minus c by a. Oh, how come there are... Did I make a mistake? 1 second. I'm getting different answers in the chat. Oh, okay. I made a mistake. Yes, let me check. 15 by 4 is the answer in the chat. Let me check that. 1 by 1. C is... Oh, I didn't put C over here. Yeah, my mistake. Okay. I didn't put C value here in the denominator. So C value was minus 4. Alright. So you get minus 1 by 4 plus 4, which is equal to 15 by 4. Okay. Next question. Since you're given options, you can go by options and do the answer. If options were not given, your approach would have been different. Since options are given, it's an MCQ question, the approach you follow should be a little different. Which options can you easily eliminate? What's the product of the zeros here? What's the product of the zeros? Minus m into m plus 3. So check which all options have product as minus m into m plus 3. Which options does not have that as the product? That is definitely eliminated. Which options would you eliminate?
Option D can be eliminated.
Yeah, A and D both. Because in both cases, I'm getting plus m into m plus 3 as the product. So answer has to be one of these. We already checked the product condition. Now let's check the sum. What should the sum be? What should the sum be? Why are you including x? 3. The sum should be 3. Which of these has sum as 3? Which of these has sum as 3?
Option B.
B has sum as 3, no? If I add these two, this will become minus 3. But when I add these two, what is happening? The sum is 3. So the answer should be option B. So what I was trying to tell you is when it's a 1 mark, you can do it quickly like that by looking at the options and doing the product, see which is matching. Sum also you see which one is matching. So that is happening for option B. Be careful with your signs. What if this was a question without options? How would you do it? So you got a question like this.
Sorry, mom. Should we expand the term of m plus 3?
I would advise you not to, because it's already factorized for you. They've already done the hard bit for you. So I need to find two numbers whose sum is minus 3 and product is. This is not the sum of zeros, what I'm writing here. I am doing the method of splitting the middle term here. Don't get confused. I am not right now, when I'm writing sum over here, I do not mean the sum of zeros. I mean the method to split the middle term. So sum should be minus 3, product should be what? Minus m into m plus 3. Already I have two factors here, no? Right? Now just check. Check whether the sum of these two is minus 3 or not. Is it minus 3? I can split this as minus m into m plus 3. Is the sum of these two minus 3? I'm talking about a situation where you don't have options. How would you do this? Is the sum of this minus 3? Why are you taking so long to answer this? Is the sum of this minus 3? No,
How
sum
did you
of this
get
is
the
3.
sum as minus 3?
I'm talking about splitting the middle term. When you split the middle term, what is the process you follow? You take the coefficient of x. You need to find two numbers. You need to express this as sum of two numbers, this as product of two numbers, whose sum is minus 3 and product is this full thing. Isn't that the way of splitting the middle term? That's why I told earlier, I'm not talking about sum of zeros here. I'm talking about the process of splitting the middle term. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is minus m plus 3? It is plus 3, not matching. So what I should do? Let me take it as m into minus of m plus 3. Now is the sum this minus 3? Is the sum of these two minus 3? Yes. M plus minus 3 is minus 3. That means I can split this as m plus minus of m plus 3. What do we do after this? You split the middle term and factorize. Right? So how do you split the middle term and factorize over here? How do you split the middle term and factorize? You will write x square plus mx minus m plus 3x minus m into m plus 3. Right? Then you take common factor out. X into x plus m. Here you can take, again you want x plus m. So you will take out minus xm plus 3. Let me write that down a little more neater, because I'll be sharing this with you later. So you will get confused then when you later refer. Okay. So minus, I need x plus m, right, in brackets. So what will come outside? What will come outside? Minus m plus 3, right? Then you have x plus m common. So x plus m into x minus m plus 3, right? When I equate this to 0, what happens? What are the values of x? Minus m or m plus 3, which is what we got here. But this particular method we will use only when it was a question without options. Alright, here since the options were there, you can see if I did this, it would take some time, right, to arrive at the answer. So what was easier? Easier when options are given was doing what we did earlier. Apply that concept. Okay? Fine. Let's go to the next question. This is a competency based question. Many students are writing A as the answer. If you are giving me A as the answer, it's wrong. Why is it wrong? A, in option A, what shape do you have? Parabola. Parabola is shape of what type of polynomial? Parabola is shape of what type of polynomial? Parabola is the shape of what type of polynomial? It is the shape of a quadratic polynomial. Okay? Is the given polynomial a quadratic polynomial? Quadratic factor multiplied by linear factor. Quadratic factor multiplied by linear factor will be what? When you're multiplying a quadratic with linear, what do you get? When you multiply a quadratic with linear, what do you get? What is x square into x? X cube. So when you multiply quadratic with linear, what will you get? Cubic. When you multiply quadratic with linear, what do you get? Cubic. So this is a cubic polynomial. I understand why some of you would have written this, because what happens is when you are putting this equal to 0, you're getting x equals 1 or x equals minus 2. So when you're looking at it, there are two zeros. So you must be thinking 2 zeros means quadratic. No, not necessary. Remember this concept, what I'm saying now properly. Quadratic polynomial has maximum 2 zeros. Quadratic polynomial, there is a possibility quadratic polynomial could have 2 zeros. There's a possibility quadratic polynomial could have only 1 zero. There is also a possibility that quadratic polynomial has no zeros. Same thing for cubic. Cubic has maximum how many zeros? 3. But there is a possibility that cubic has 2 zeros. There is a possibility that cubic has 1 zero. Okay? No zeros won't happen, because there is a concept, it's an odd degree. Linear polynomials always have 1 0. Cubic also will have always 1 0. Okay. Important thing over here is this is a cubic polynomial. So the shape won't be a parabola. Only quadratic polynomials have shape of parabola. Only quadratic. Okay. So this is not the answer. Option A. Then which could be the answer? What are the zeros? 1 and -2. Okay. Here if you see, it is intersecting at 1, it's intersecting at -2. That could be the answer. Here also it is intersecting at 1 and -2. Here it is intersecting at 2 and -1. Will this be the answer? No, 2 and -1 won't be the answer because the zeros are 1 and -2. When I put x minus 1 equal to 0, I get 1. When I put x plus 2 equal to 0, I am getting -2. So this is 100% not the answer. This is 100% not the answer. Now you need to use your logic and tell me which of these could be the answer. Why? Explain.
Right. And both the zeros.
Both of them are same zeros. When you look at the graph, zeros are the same. Here also I'm having -2 as 0. Okay. And 1 as 0. Here also I'm having -2 as 0, 1 as 0. This is called touching. This is called touching the graph. This is called crossing the graph. This is touching. This is crossing. Now tell me, what do you do in this case? How do you decide which one is the answer? You find out some coordinate of a point, which is very easy from the graph. For example, look at the point here. What is the coordinate of this point? What is the coordinate of this point? 0, 2. What does this mean? If 0, 2 is a point on the graph, what does it mean? When x is equal to 0, what should be the value of the graph? When x is 0, what should be the value of the graph? 2. When x is 0, what should be the value of the polynomial? 2. Let us check. Let us check whether this is true or not. Put x is equal to 0. Okay, when you put x equals 0 here, what happens? Put x is equal to 0. What do you get? -1 square into 2. Right? What is -1 square? 1 and then into 2 is 2. That means this is not possible because see over here when x is 0, the value of the polynomial is -4. Not possible. That means this is also crossed out. What is my correct answer? My correct answer is this. This is a competency based question, okay? Where you're a little bit beyond your thinking and you're trying to answer. So correct answer is option C. Yes, Sanjay, correct. Okay. We are going a little slow. We are behind by 10 minutes. So okay, I'll try to still do more number of questions. Okay. Pair of linear equations. Fine. We'll go to pair of linear equations now. Okay.
Ma'am, is the previous question from additional set 1?
Yes. All questions which I'm selecting here today for discussion are either from a CBSE official sample paper or it is from a previous CBSE board paper. Every single question. Okay. So that means everything is important. Okay. First thing which I want is write down pair of linear equations in the standard form. So I want you to tell me what is the form of pair of linear equations. After that, please put the conditions for each of these.
Now for the condition, we have to write like A1 divided by A2, like in that form or in the pair of linear equation form.
I want you to give me what is a pair of linear equations first. After that, I want you to write the conditions. This is one thing only. This is just one thing. I've already given part of the answer here. Right? Intersecting means unique solution, means consistent. So that is given. I just want you to write the condition in terms of A, B, and C then. Okay, there's a doubt in the previous question. Okay. So let me explain quickly again. If you're still not following, students, I'll take it up with you separately. Okay. So quickly, just try paying attention. I am having a quadratic factor here. How do I know it's quadratic? Because it is squared. So I know when I expand, I will get x square. Here I am having x, linear factor. You multiply quadratic with linear, you're going to get a cubic. So the moment you know this is a cubic polynomial, you must remove the parabola from your answer choice. It cannot be parabola because parabola is for quadratic. This is the polynomial. For this, the polynomial would be x minus 1, x plus 2. If it was only x minus 1, x plus 2, this would be the answer. The problem here is it is x minus 1 square, which means x is getting squared. Next thing you do is you find the zeros. The zeros are x equals 1, x equals minus 2. Look at all the graphs. Here, 2 and minus 1 are the zeros, which means this is not the answer. Now, you are having two options. Both the cases, you are getting 1 minus 2, 1 minus 2. So, now you need to check which one among these two is the correct answer. For that, try locating a point on the graph.
Minus 1 the whole square.
Why? Why are we doing that? We are locating a point on the graph for which it's easy to find the coordinates. Easiest thing to find the coordinates is look for a point where it's intersecting y-axis. So you could have done this or you could have done this. I just randomly chose to check this value first. So when I checked this, I saw that the value is 0, 2. When I check this, I'm getting value 0, minus 4. So what this graph is telling is when x is 0, value of polynomial is minus 4. What this graph is telling is when x is 0, value of polynomial is 2. So I need to verify now what is the correct thing. When x is 0, actually what is the value of the polynomial? So I substituted 0. When I substituted 0, I got 0 minus 1 square, 0 plus 2. Minus 1 square into 2, which is 1 into 2, 2. So I know when x is 0, the value must be 2 actually. And which one matches that? That is this. Salik, do you follow? Salik, please quickly answer in chat. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so let's discuss this. Form of pair of linear equations. What is the form of pair of linear equations? A1x
B1
plus b1y plus c1 equals 0. A2x plus b2y plus c2 is equal to 0. Now there are three types of lines which are possible. Intersecting at a point. So intersecting at a point means the lines both meet like this. You will have one unique solution which is given by the point of intersection. So when you have this given in graphical form, how do you find the solution? Find the x and y coordinate of the point of intersection. That will be the solution. Okay. And here it means it is consistent. When you get solution, it means it's consistent. You cannot get solution, inconsistent. Okay. So intersecting at a point, unique solution, consistent. What is the condition for this? Condition for this is A1 by A2 not equal to B1 by B2. C1 and C2 does not matter. Please don't write C1 and C2. A1 by A2 not equal to B1 by B2. Parallel to each other. So if the lines are parallel to each other, they will never meet each other. That means there's no common point. No common point means no solution. No solution means inconsistent. What is the condition for this?
A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2.
Yes, not equal to C1 by C2. Coincident on each other. Coincident means they both lie on top of each other. That means it's the same line. Essentially, it's the same line. All points are common. Infinite solutions. There are infinitely many solutions. I missed the word infinitely. I'll add it later. Okay, infinitely many solutions. That means it is consistent. When do you call something consistent? If you can get solution. You're getting solution, so it's consistent. What's the condition here?
B1 by B2 is equal to
Is equal to C1 by C2. There are few more concepts here, but that I will discuss it along with the questions. Okay? Okay. Quickly. These are questions which will be answered like very quick. Five seconds. Over. 5 seconds is over. What's the answer?
Ma'am, is it many?
No.
No, it's unique solution because
The pair of equations x equals 5, y equals 5 has unique solution. What is the solution? X equals 5, y equals 5. Unique solution. Already x value is given. Already y value is given. How do you analyze this graphically? X is equal to 5 is what type of line? X equals 5 is what type of line? X equals 5 is a vertical line. So vertical line which passes through 5. This is x is equal to 5. What about y is equal to 5? Y is equal to 5 is a horizontal line. So x equals 5 and y equals 5 are perpendicular lines which are intersecting. Perpendicular lines or intersecting lines will have what? One solution. That's unique solution. That's why I told you this is a 5 seconds answer question. Okay? So unique solution is the answer here. This one. Read the question carefully. This is not an MCQ question. The question is asking you to give an example of each of the three types. Okay. So all of you might have got unique answers because there are so many multiple answers possible, but I will explain what are the important things you should keep in mind while writing the answer. Okay. First of all, for unique solution, you don't have to be worried about the constants at all. You just have to check what are the x coefficients, what are the y coefficients. You already know the ratio of x coefficients. You know the ratio is 1 by 2. That means in one of them, it is double of the other. As long as you make sure that minus n is not double of minus m, it is okay. There is no problem. I just have to make sure minus n is not double of minus m. So here what is the value of m and n I can take? I can say m is equal to, maybe I can take 3. I should just make sure n is not 6. That's all. Just make sure you don't put 6. Any other value in the world you put, no problem. You put an irrational number, you put a fraction, you put any other number, any fancy number, no issue. Just don't put 6. That's all. Because if you put 6, then it won't have unique solution. Because then a1 by a2 will become equal to b1 by b2. Any other number if you have put, no problem. That's correct. So you can say m equals 3. For example, n is equal to 5 root 3. No problem. For any other number. Okay. Infinitely many solutions. Here it is compulsory what? For infinitely many solutions, that a1 by a2 must be equal to b1 by b2. But also one more thing you should check. Here c1 by c2 is important. Only if a1 by a2 and c1 by c2 are the same, only in that case infinitely many solutions are there. So check that quickly. What is a1 by a2? a1 by a2 is 1 by 2. What is c1 by c2? 1. So anybody, if you have written a value of m and n for this 2, that means it's wrong. You are supposed to say does not exist. Why you should say does not exist? Because a1 by a2 is becoming not equal to c1 by c2. That means infinitely many solutions is not possible only. So you should say m and n does not exist such that infinitely many solutions are there. Not possible. It's not possible. Whatever values you put, 100% it cannot be infinitely many solutions. No solution. No solution is possible. Yes, the condition is a1 by a2, b1 by b2 must not be equal to c1 by c2. So no solution is possible. But what is important? a1 by a2 must be equal to b1 by b2. That is important. So I can put m is equal, suppose I put m equals 3 only. What should n value be? 6. Because I'm having here coefficient as minus 3, minus 6 is double of minus 3. So m is plus 3, n is plus 6 I can put, or anything else, as long as n is double of that. They have written show your work. In that case, please, whatever I was verbally telling to you, you're expected to write. Okay? Online students, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Try this. Yes, so ratio of x coefficients, okay, a1 by a2, k by 1 must be same as ratio of y coefficients 1 by k, same as ratio of constants. As long as constants are on the same side of equal to symbol, you can take it directly. If the constants in both equations are not on the same side of equal to symbol, please remember to move it to the same side. Here it is okay, there is no problem. Okay, so you're going to get k square by 1. Okay, so for which of these values will k by 1 be equal to 1 by k equal to k square by 1? So what's the answer? Plus or minus 1? Okay, let's see. If I substitute 1, I get 1 by 1 equals 1 by 1 equals 1 by 1. Okay, no problem. 1 can definitely be an answer. If I substitute minus 1, minus 1 by 1 equals 1 by minus 1 minus 1 square by 1. Is this true? This is not true. I know usually answers are the plus or minus ones. But this is a case where the answer is not the plus or minus 1. Because if you substitute minus 1, I'm getting minus 1 equals minus 1 is not equal to 1. This is the case for parallel. If the question was asking you for what value will it have no solution, then the answer should have been k equals minus 1. You should not choose k equals plus 1 then. In that case, k equals minus 1. Here, but you should get the answer k is equal to 1 only. So, answer is B. Okay? Yeah. I'm skipping this question. Question 17, remember I'm skipping because I told you we are going behind time. Okay? So, whatever questions I'm skipping will be homework for you. Questions which you try and ask me doubts on. So, 17th one I'm skipping. Okay? 18th question also I'm skipping. 19th one. 17th and 18th I have skipped. Please try it out. 19th one.
Can you show the questions so I can see each?
I will share this. We'll share. I'll convert it to PDF and share with all of you.
Okay.
I'll directly discuss the shortcut. The longer way, which most of you might be trying out, is finding out the value of x and y by using whatever method you've learned, either substitution or elimination. You're finding x and y, then you're finding x minus y. You will get the answer that way. But it is going to be longer compared to a method which I'm going to discuss with you now. The shorter way of doing this would be, okay, I'm having 3x. I want to find out the value of x minus y, right? What is this equation? 3x plus 2y equals 25. What is this equation? 2x plus 3y equals 15. Now immediately notice a pattern over here. Only if you know that pattern, then you will immediately notice that. What is the pattern? The x and y coefficients are getting interchanged. X and y coefficients are getting interchanged. In these type of pattern questions, you can easily find x plus y by adding both the equations. And you can easily find x minus y by subtracting the equations. I am repeating, in questions where the coefficients get interchanged, you can easily find x plus y by adding equations. You can find x minus y by subtracting the equations. What do I want to find here? X minus y. What should we do? We will subtract both. Directly I'll subtract. So when I subtract both, what happens? What is 3x minus 2x? X. What is 2y minus 3y? Minus y. What is x minus y? 25 minus 15. What is that? 10. Or, that's the answer. See how much time would this take? Very less time. So if you're finding x, y and solving and all, like I told you, as long as your method is correct, you will get the answer. But for MCQ questions especially, all of you try to employ these faster methods. Okay? You get x minus y equals 10 directly. The long answer question, which can come based on the same concept, is question like this. Like these questions. Again, same pattern. You notice that x coefficients are getting interchanged. You notice y coefficients are getting interchanged. If you use the normal method, this is going to take so much time to solve because the numbers are so huge. What will you do in this case? You will add both the equations first After adding both the equations, you will get some common coefficient for x and y. Divide with that. You will get x plus y equals something. You subtract both the equations then. You will get x minus y equals something. Isn't this very easy to solve? If I get like these type of equations, they are more easy to solve, right? So everyone please write down this question and attempt it. Practice on your own. So remember this pattern. If the coefficients get interchanged, what is the pattern you should, if you notice this, add both the equations, form a new equation. From that equation, get the value of x plus y. Subtract both the equations, you'll get another equation. From that, you find out x minus y. Now you get a very simple question. Solving this is very simple. X plus y equals something, x minus y equals something. You just have to add both, you will get x value. Then substitute, you will get y value. So you can try solving this. Okay? Try this. We'll try this now together. You want to copy the question? Okay. You can do this like normal, or if you want, even for this, you can apply that previous method. Your choice. If you feel comfortable with that, you can add both, form a new equation, subtract both, form a new equation and do it. If you feel no, it's better using the normal method, you can do that. What do you want me to show you? Which method? Normal method of elimination, or you want me to show that special case?
Normal method.
Normal method. Okay. So our aim is what? Our aim is to eliminate one of the variables. Let me multiply this with A. Let me multiply this with B. Okay, do it.
Now, when these type of questions come, they say,
Yeah, this is an actual question which came. But there was an option. It was part of an optional question. There was an OR question.
And is this a 3 mark?
Yes. I'm making a mistake here. Sorry. We will do ab square minus 2ab square. That will become a cube minus ab square. Oh, so I didn't have to factorize.
Can you show through the other method also?
Okay. You want to see which one would be easier?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. See, this method involves, the method is the same, your usual elimination. But I understand that these kind of questions, you feel it's more difficult because of the usage of letters. You need to be very careful with the signs, with the powers, and with the cancellation of factors. That is very important. Just for a comparison, I'll show you the other method. Okay, for a comparison, I'll show you the other method, and you can try to you can evaluate for yourself which one would be easier. I found x value. How would you find y value? By substituting this, right, in any one equation. I'm skipping that part for now. It's not complete. You have to find the value for y, but I'm skipping that part for now. Okay, let me show you the other method as well. Okay, so if you were doing the other method, ax plus by equals 1, bx plus ay equals this. I add both the equations. When I add both of them, I get a plus bx plus a plus by is equal to, do you understand how I did that? When I add 1 plus 2ab by a square plus b square, what will happen? You follow what will happen? Okay, okay, if it's, I was just seeing whether you understand. I just took the LCM directly while adding. Fine, I'll write it down, not a problem. 1 plus 2ab by a square plus b square. This is equation 3. Okay, this means that x plus y is equal to what? Let us first make this a single fraction. Multiply 1 with a square plus b square. So you get a square plus b square plus 2ab. Already in denominator you have a square plus b square. This a plus b will also come down. Right? Okay. This numerator a square plus b square plus 2ab is what? Which identity? A plus b the whole square. So you're going to get a plus b the whole square by a square plus b square into a plus b. Right? What happens? This a plus b, one of the a plus b will get cancelled. So I'm getting one equation which I'm getting is x plus y is equal to a plus b by a square plus b square. This is equation 3. No, let me call that 4. I should not have labeled this. This is not necessary. Okay, this is equation 3. Now when I subtract 1 and 2, what happens? When you subtract both of them, a minus bx, okay, you get plus b minus ay. Plus b minus ay you get, okay, is equal to 1 minus 2ab by a square plus b square. So you get a minus bx plus b minus ay equals a square plus b square minus 2ab. A minus b the whole square by a square plus b square. Okay. If you're not following till now, then I think better is the first method for you. For those of you who are not following till now. So x, I was supposed to subtract this, right? I wrote it wrong. No, I subtracted only. A minus B, B minus A. Yeah. So now what happens? Now, if I divide throughout by A minus B, divide throughout by A minus B, this will go. I'll get X. What is B minus A divided by A minus B? What is B minus A divided by A minus B? Minus 1. When both the terms are interchanged, B minus A is negative of A minus B. So B minus A divided by A minus B is minus 1. You get this is equal to A minus B the whole square divided by A square plus B square into A minus B. This will get cancelled here. Okay. So I'm getting A minus B by A square plus B square. This was X plus Y. This is X minus Y. After this step, it becomes easy to solve. I understand till here it might have seemed like a lot. But then once you reach this step, suddenly the question becomes very simple. Because now when you're adding both, you get 2x is equal to what? You get 2x is equal to sum of these two. Look at the numerator. A plus A will be 2a. Plus B minus B will get cancelled. So you'll get 2a by A square plus B square. Right? 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So x will be A by A square plus B square. Same answer what we got before. Now, some of you might have found this more difficult in this case. Remember, the main application of this method. When do you mainly use this method? When you notice that the factors are interchanged. When is this an advantage, this method? It is an advantage when you want to find the value of x plus y. It's an advantage when you want to find the value of x minus y without individually finding x and y. It is also an advantage when the coefficients are really huge, like this. Coefficients are very big. So if you have to eliminate lot, big multiplication will be involved. To avoid that, this method is good. In all other cases, even though you notice the pattern, my advice is apply the normal method. Okay? Students, those who were not able to catch up with me in speed and solve this by yourself, please redo this question. Try practicing it again. I'll be sharing it with my marking, with my annotations. So try practicing it again. Okay? All right. I'll skip this question number 21 because these are also direct type. 22, let's do. This is a question which appeared in this year's sample paper. I'll extend the session by 15 minutes. Is that okay? 15 minutes. How do you approach these type of questions? Actually, reducible equations are deleted portions from your textbook. There is something called reducible equations which is deleted. This is part of that. But this is a question from this year's sample paper. So they are expecting you to do this directly. How do you do this directly? You are having 2 by root x, 3 plus by root y equals 2. 4 by root x minus 9 by root y equals minus 1. In your mind, consider this 1 by root x, 1 by root y as x and y. Same process you follow then after that. The pattern is the same, no? The pattern is similar to whatever you have learned. Now what you do is the normal process of elimination you follow. Suppose I multiply the first equation with 3. When you multiply first equation with 3, what do you get? 6 by root x plus 9 by root y is equal to 6. What do we do after this? What do we do after this?
Root y plus 9 root x. Will we do it like that?
Yeah, you add both the equations, right? Whatever you have obtained here, this is the third equation I've got. I'll add third and the second equation, correct? Because I can eliminate 9 by root y and minus 9 by root y. When you add both of them, what happens? 10 by root x is equal to how much? 10 by root x is equal to?
5.
5. Very good. So this means 10 is equal to 5 root x. It means root x is equal to 10 by 5, which is 5. What is the value of x?
X is equal to 25.
25. Square of 5. Root x is 5. That means x is 25. Very good. Okay. Next, you need to find out the value of root y. You just have to substitute this in any one equation you like. For me, it looks like this equation looks the simplest for me. Okay. So,
Root x is 2, right? 10 divided by 5.
Yes, ma'am.
oh, yes. Yes, Sanjay. 10 divided by 5, 2. I wrote 5. Okay. Root x is equal to
How
2.
do you get 5 though?
How did I get?
5.
You're telling how I made the mistake.
No, ma'am, how do you get 5?
This 5. This
Yeah.
5. 3 plus 2. I'm adding equations 3 and 2. What is 6 plus minus 1? 6 plus minus 1 is
Oh,
plus
okay,
5.
okay.
Root x is 2, which means x is 4. 2 square 4. Okay. Next, substitute this in any one equation. Let me substitute in 1. So when you substitute in 1, what happens? You get 2 divided by root 4 plus 3 divided by root y equals 2. What is root 4 value? 2. What is 2 divided by 2? 1. So you get 1 plus 3 by root y equals 2. 3 by root y is equal to 1, which means what? What is the value of root y? Root y is 3.
Y is 9.
Y is 9. Good. Okay. So don't get worried when you get questions of this type. Follow the same pattern. Just see that, okay, both of them are having the variable in the same position. The same pattern is followed for the variable. So you stick to the normal method and solve. Only thing is, be careful with your calculations when you're getting root x involved. Okay?
Ma'am,
Yeah?
an alternate method is just to substitute 1 by root x and 1 by root y is like m and n, yeah. Different
Yes, yes,
variables.
yes. I didn't use that because that was the method of the reducible equations, right? That's the method over there. So that's why I didn't talk about it. But yes, if you're already familiar with that, you can do that. Substitute and do it. No problem.
Okay.
Quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Write this. First, write down the quadratic formula. For those of you who did not hear me earlier, I'm extending the session by 15 minutes. First write down what is a quadratic formula, then give the formula for discriminant, and then 4 conditions. So totally 6 formulas you need to write down. Okay, let's discuss quadratic formula. The
B is
quadratic formula says that x is equal to minus b plus or minus
prove B square minus 4AC by 2A.
full thing by 2a, whole by 2a. Okay, if you have only put part of it as by 2a, that means it's wrong. It's the full thing by 2a. In this quadratic formula, which part is the discriminant? The part which is inside the square root symbol. If anyone has written discriminant as root of b square minus 4ac, that's wrong. There's no square root symbol there. It's only b square minus 4ac, the discriminant value. What is the condition for equal real roots?
B is greater than equal to 0.
Yeah, the graph of the quadratic polynomial corresponding to this quadratic equation will look like this or like this. The graph of quadratic polynomial corresponding to this will look like this. Only one point of intersection with x-axis. Distinct real roots, what's the condition?
D is greater than 0.
D is greater than 0. Distinct real roots.
And in the first one, option A, isn't it D is greater than equal to 0?
No, that is for this. If the roots are equal, D has to be equal to 0.
Okay.
Distinct real roots means you're having two separate roots. So 2 points of intersection with the x-axis. Graph will be like this or graph could be like this. Okay? Condition for real roots is what?
D is greater than equal.
Greater or equal to. You write it like this. Greater or equal. Both cases are possible. So it could be, the graph could be any of these 4. D is greater than or equal to 0. What is the condition for no real roots? No point of intersection with the x-axis. D is less than 0. D is less than 0. Okay. Try this, 26th. Question 26. Tomorrow's session, in the beginning, I will take out some time to discuss doubts in whatever questions we didn't have time to discuss right now. So please ensure you do it. So whoever is having doubts in anything, I will discuss that in maybe the initial 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. So when you have to find the values of k, apply the condition for equal roots. Equal roots is discriminant equal to 0. Substitute everything properly. Okay. Form the quadratic. Product is minus 3. Sum is minus 2. So numbers must be minus 3 and 1. After you split the middle term, this is what you're going to get. So what are the values of k?
Ma'am,
3 or minus
3 or
1.
minus 1.
Okay.
ma'am, in opening the bracket, 4 into k plus 4. 4 into 4, minus 4 into 4. Plus 4,
Yes.
16.
16. 15. I made mistake there. K square plus 2k plus 1. Sorry, this was minus 2k plus 1. This was 4k. This was minus 16. So you get 1 minus 16 minus 15 is equal to 0. Product is minus 15. So you have minus 5. K minus 5 into k plus 3. Right? Which means k is equal to 5 or k is equal to minus 3.
Ma'am, value of b is k plus 1, right, ma'am?
Which one?
B square, ma'am, it will be k plus 1, the
Yes.
whole square, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, here,
Well,
ma'am,
I
have
think
substitute k
when
minus 1.
I think was that mistake there originally or did I make it now when I erased? I think by mistake when I erased I removed the plus symbol. Yeah, let me change that.
Oh.
When I was erasing, no, the earlier error. I think I made that. Let me check. I am also a little tired because 12th graders and 10th graders, both you guys have exams in the same week. I just finished with 12th graders revision sessions today morning. They're having the board exam day after. A square plus 2k plus 1 minus 4k minus 16. A square plus 2k. So that means this will change. This will be k plus 5, k minus 3. And that's k equals minus 5, k equals 3. Okay, so much difference plus minus symbols make. Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. When you already have small a, small b, small c used in the question, and when you're putting quadratic formula, while writing formula, use capital letters so that you don't get confused. Okay? Here, a which you're going to use in the quadratic formula is ab. B which you're going to use in the quadratic formula is b square minus ac. C which you're going to use in the quadratic formula is minus bc. The important thing is this use of the identity properly over here. That is the important part in the question. Okay, being able to use the identity correctly over here. So here I'm getting this is square of b square. This is square of AC. So you must understand the way this is b square plus AC the whole square. Once you follow that, you can take the square root, write this as b square plus AC. Do not leave your answer like this. Separate it out and find both values of x. So x could be AC minus b square plus b square plus AC by 2ab, which is 2AC by 2AB, which is C by B. Or x could be what? X could also be obtained by subtracting these values, right? When you subtract both, what will happen? AC minus B square minus B square minus AC. AC will get cancelled. So you get minus 2B square by 2AB, which is minus minus B by A. So I'm getting two possible values, C by B or minus B by A. Okay, separate it out. One answer is this plus that value divided by 2ab. Another answer is this minus. And when you are subtracting, use brackets properly. You don't use brackets properly, your answer goes wrong. All right? Okay. Okay, I think I was a little over ambitious today. Okay, I thought we would be able to cover a lot more. That's why I selected so many questions. How do you prefer I do tomorrow's sessions? Is it okay if I do more number of questions like this? I give you the rest as homework, or do you want me to do lesser number? I will not choose so many questions. I'll do lesser number of questions only. I'll choose for tomorrow. Okay, and so that we complete the chapters in mind properly, and then I will maybe give you some separate work to practice. Okay, right now let's just stop the session by just finishing the discussion of these formulae. We are behind by one chapter. We were supposed to complete AP also today. I will send you the questions anyhow. Please attempt them and we'll do a quick discussion tomorrow. Okay? Yeah, do this. AP concepts. We'll stop here. We'll discuss these concepts and stop. Nth term of AP formula. Any term in the nth position, the value of term which is in position n is given by first term plus n minus 1, where n stands for position number. Okay, n minus 1 into d. What is the meaning of d? D is common difference, which is equal to a2 minus a1 or a3 minus a2 and so on. The difference between two consecutive terms. Sum of first 10 terms of AP, there are two formulae. One is the formula which you use when you do not know the value of the term in the nth position. You want to find sum of first 10 terms, but you don't know which term is in nth position. Then you use this formula, n by 2, 2a plus n minus 1 d. If you know the value of the term which is in the nth position, then you use n by 2 a plus an. And what is the relation between Sn and an? The relation between Sn and an would be?
Sn minus 1 is equal to an.
Yes, Sn, the sum of n terms minus the sum of all the previous terms will be equal to an. For example, if I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms, how can you get the fifth term value from this formula? Sum of all 5 terms minus sum of these 4 terms will be the fifth term's value. That is the meaning of this formula. Sn minus 1 is an. Okay. Alright students, we'll stop here. What I will be doing is I'll share this by WhatsApp for the students who are there in the WhatsApp groups. For the other students, it will be sent by email. Okay. Try doing all questions which you have left. AP, almost all problems you have not done. So try those. There are a couple of word problems also. A few questions here and there which we missed in between. So you'll be able to identify which we skipped when you see the PDF, because you'll know the ones which I have not attempted. Try those. We will discuss them during doubt clearing tomorrow, and then we continue with the other chapters which we have planned. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Yes. Welcome. Bye bye.
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes.
Where can I solve MCQ from? Because I lose marks like easy MCQ.
Wait, I'm not able to hear you clearly. Can you repeat that again?
So ma'am, for the math exam, like I mostly lose marks in my MCQs. So where can I learn MCQs and solve MCQ from?
Do you have any question bank which you're referring to?
I have OSWAL, but I don't think there are enough MCQs there.
You already have the OSWAL book and you're looking for more resources, right? Okay, what I'll do is I will just share a link when this PDF is shared. Okay, where study material is available. Lot of study material. So you can pick up any question bank and try doing MCQs from there. All right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.